Hello and welcome to the Cars and Cancer podcast. We are at episode 18 now. We haven't given up just yet. We're still going.
Still going strong.
You what? Sorry, Andy?
Still going strong.
Well, yeah, we're going. I don't know if it's strong, but we're going. And if anybody's heard it for the first time, we're just three blokes who got together because we were brought together by having cancer at the same time in our lives, and we met at a sort of a cancer counselling kind of group, and then we became good mates, and then found out that we had a real love of cars, and so we thought we wanted to give something back, and that's why we've put this little podcast together, and it's called Cars and Cancer. The clue's in the title, and that's pretty much what we do. We talk about our love of cars and experiences with cancer, and in the hope that it helps somebody else out. And you know, if somebody's sitting in hospital and they're bedridden and they can want to tune into the podcast and just pass 50 minutes of their life and that kind of thing, then and that help them out, then that'll be great. So but we're very fortunate today, gents, because we've actually got somebody who is very, very knowledgeable on a subject that I don't really like, and I'll explain that more in a minute. I'll explain why. But we've got Jon. Is it Jon Delieu? Am I pronouncing that right, Jon?
That's right, yeah. Or Delaware, if you want to go with the posh one.
Oh, I've got Only Fools and Horses in my head now. And I think yeah, so we've got Jon Delieu on, and I don't know if somebody's not been living on this planet for a while, Jon, and they've not been on YouTube and stuff. Who are you? I mean, who are you, and what do you do? Tell the world.
So I spend most of my time trying to figure out what the best products are to clean your car. That's a very, very short explanation of it. But I've been doing it for about 7 or 8 years, making detailing content on YouTube. I do it full time now, and I love it. A bit like you said in the introduction, love of cars is a massive thing for guys. You know,
yeah.
Lots of guys are petrol heads, aren't they? And detailing kind of bolts onto the side of it. And, I got slightly obsessive about it and thought I could do a YouTube channel. And 8 years later, I'm still kind of going with it and, enjoying it.
That sounds really good.
So you say you've gone full time, Jon. So was that ever the intention at the start then? Or was it, I'll just do a couple of videos? And I mean, how did the idea come in your head then? I mean, were you having a bad day at work and you thought, right, I need to get out of this? Or I mean, how did it,
Not really. I wanted to do a YouTube channel on music because I play a little bit of guitar and I watched YouTube. And so I invested in a cheap camera, a DSLR camera and a good microphone. And I created JD's Folk and Blues.
Oh, okay.
Which was, I didn't do any research. I just created the channel and then filmed myself with this camera. I've actually used an iPad before, and it was terrible quality. And it was awful. You can't really film good audio with a camera and a guitar in a room. But even if I could, the music was terrible anyway. So that channel didn't work. But at the same time, or a month or so afterwards, I thought, I'm going to start filming some of the stuff I do on detailing because I was really into it.
Yeah.
And I had the garage and I had the cars and I was doing the machine polishing. And I thought, let's talk a little bit about detailing. So I just started it, and I noticed straight away there was more interest in the detailing than the music, if you can call it that. And slowly but surely, because I think I got my sort of foot in the door early with the detailing stuff, it started attracting a following. And it was never my intention to do it as a full-time kind of thing. It was just going to be a hobby that was going to be fun. But I kept going. And I think after about 2 or 3 years of really doing it and learning about it and working out how to sort of monetize it properly, I realised I wasn't far off being able to earn a sort of level of income that wasn't far off, a normal monthly job. So then when I realised that, I really pushed and got to that stage and went full time with it.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
Right, that's great.
so you must have got to a point then where, forgive me, I assume you've got a partner, and you said, I'm going to go full time YouTube. That must have been quite. I mean, was that quite a shock to them, or for yourself? It's a brave decision, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, not really a shock, because I was doing so much filming in all my free time.
Yeah.
It was getting kind of ridiculous, and she knew I was really into it, and I was trying to grow it. So it sort of, before I sort of said, right, I'm doing this full time, I think she got the idea that it was going to be the way I was going to go. But yeah, it was still, back then it was a risk, because I was struggling to sort of get it to make more than like £1,000 a month, which, is not a lot of money, and you need really to be making £2,000 or £3,000 a month to be able to survive nowadays. So yeah, when I decided to go full time, it was risky, because it wasn't making much in the way of money, and I think it is very hard to get it to that stage, where you can live off it. So yeah, a little bit of apprehension about that and excitement, but if it all went horribly wrong, I could have just shut the channel down. I thought about it many times and done something completely different, So I guess, like we were talking about with you setting up the podcast, there wasn't a massive cost involved. So for me,
No.
I could always just shut up shop and do something else. That wasn't huge sort of risk.
Yeah. I think there's a feeling. It's something that I've learned on this journey, and I don't know if Darren and Andy are the same. Is that you can very easily go down this sort of rabbit hole on YouTube, and they tell you that you need to have all the right equipment, and you've got to have these cameras, you've got to have these microphones, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but there's something quite nice about the simplicity of your videos. And
you see, that's I go to a lot of trouble to make it look like I don't have a clue what I'm doing. Really, I'm a pro. Yeah, no, I do. I joke about that. I mean, I think I learned early on that, because when I first started, actually, I tried to really do good edits and fancy things, and I realised that didn't make any difference in terms of a video doing well or not. And it was really down to giving good information and on subject areas that people were interested in within detailing. That was the key thing. Yeah. And then you sort of learn what those little areas are, and you zoom in on those, and the production doesn't matter that much. You'll get the odd comment saying, I can't hear you, or turn the camera upside down, or whatever, you got it the wrong way around. But generally, yeah, this year as well, I've now pretty much moved over to just doing, I'd say 95% of my YouTube, or 90% on a smartphone, and that's it. And if I need to do a more polished production, then I'll use a DSLR and edit it on my computer. But it's so much easier nowadays. The smartphones are so good. They handle the light automatically. They handle the motion better. The audio is getting really good on them. So everyone, I published the video tonight saying everyone should do YouTube, and it's just me chatting with a chap up the road who wants to do YouTube. We chatted for an hour and just filmed it. And that's all done on the smartphone, so yeah, it's very, very easy to get into YouTube nowadays, and you really need minimal equipment.
Yeah. There must be a lot of competition there, though. I imagine there's people trying to jump on the bandwagon and...
Yeah, there is. When I started, there was a handful of YouTube detailing channels, really, a handful. And they were really good. You had Joe, the car cleaning guru. You had like Ammo NYC, Matt from Obsessed Garage. And I used to watch these channels and think they were really good. They were really into it. Mm-hmm. And now there's probably thousands, I would say. I guess there are probably thousands of detailing channels out there, maybe even tens of thousands, who knows. So there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of people doing what I'm doing, you know, testing and recommending products and stuff like that. And that is just really the nature of the beast. In an ideal world, there'd be no competition and, you know, I'd have carte blanche on all of this content, but it just doesn't work like that. I think there's so much interest, other people dig it and want to do it as well. So that's a good thing.
Does it scare you, the competition? You know, that somebody's going to come in and go and be the top detailer.
You're doing all that wrong. This is the way you want to do it. That kind of scariness or not?
That's never really happened. Not in terms of, you know, no one's come in and sort of said that, you know. But other channels have come along and do good content and stuff like that. But I think, I'm not sure if that many people are interested in doing all the testing side of it. You know, I think channels come along and they want to do kind of
Just sell one product.
popular content. You know, they might want to do like, you know, disaster details and that sort of stuff that goes viral, and that's good. So it's a niche. What I'm doing is a niche within a niche almost. But I try and mix it up a bit and do some different stuff. But yeah, I think probably what the channel's known for, or what it's best at doing, is providing recommendations on comparing, you know, reasonably large ranges of different products. Because people follow the recommendations, and, you know, without sounding like a big head, most of the stuff that wins those tests are very good products at good prices that are good recommendations. And I have to carry on doing that. That is so important for the channel.
Yeah.
Even though I've been doing it today, it takes forever and it's not always fun, and you have to do loads of testing and for a tiny little bit of filming. Yeah, but you have to do that to be able to do other videos as well.
Right.
I imagine you've also got the time lapse as well, haven't you? So you might need to leave a product for a certain period of time, and then you might have to think, right, well, while I'm doing that, I could be recording something else, and I could be testing this product at the same time, and you're probably trying to make the best use of your time, really, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I do it. I shuffle around from video to video, even though it's hard to tell when you watch the channel. But I've usually got 3 or 4 on the go, and then, you know, one day I might be somewhere else filming, and then doing a video on detailing, and then in the afternoon doing a little chunk of testing and trying to slot it all together like that. And you know, so there lots of that goes on. I also, all this testing is well and good, but when I get these products and I buy them all up, I want to also just make sure I've had a good chance to use them, rather than just relying on all this kind of lab style testing, which is decent and it does give you some good information on the products, but using them as well really is important. I don't tend to film that, but I give myself a few months of doing that before I start these kind of comparisons.
And it might only be the videos that I've seen, but I think you've been quite good in not going down the advertisement route. I imagine you get approached a lot, and
yeah, I mean, I don't do any of the kind of adverts, you know, for, you know, stuff outside of detailing. You know, they pop up. You can get brand deals for, you know, NordVPN and
yes, that's the one. Yeah.
what's
And there's is it the car wow, the car check thing, and all that kind of.
yeah. You can get those types of brand deals that, you know, could make good money. I don't want to do that because YouTube already puts adverts in them. So you've got those skippable YouTube adverts, and then if you've got a fight between those, and then they're called in-video adverts that you're putting in for money. I don't know. No, I'd never say never, but I don't really want to go down that route. But what I do is work with, you know, about 4 or 5 brands that I get on really well with, and I dig their products, you know, and do some kind of promotional stuff with them. And that's made a big difference, actually. That's made doing the channel viable for me, you know, as a full-time thing. So yeah, we've just done a sponsored video with Jon, who are wicked company. It makes some really good coatings and modern products. We do stuff with Built Hamber, Rupes, the tool manufacturer, Turtle Wax. I've done some stuff with Vax, the wet vacuum company.
Yeah.
Oh, and Soft 99, that's the other one. The makers of the wonderful Fuso Wax, available at good retail stores.
You're not on commission, are you, John?
Yeah, so there's a bit of, it's balanced though, really, isn't it? You can untopple or unsettle the channel if it's all of that sort of stuff. So I have to carry on doing stuff which gives people that watch value. And if you stop doing that, then people will probably lose interest. So yeah, it's a balancing act a little bit.
Okay.
So did these companies, did they come to you, Jon, kind of once your like the followers started building up, or you started becoming more successful online on your own, or did you have to go for them?
After you get to about 10,000 subscribers, you will get emails from every company in China that make anything to do with cars.
Right. Okay.
You'll get great partnership offer here to advertise our car camera, what they call those camera things.
The webcams.
No,
the dash
cams.
Dash cams, that's it, yeah. Webcam.
Dash
Oh, dear.
Cheap tools, in-car stereos, all this stuff. So you start getting that first of all, and then after that you'll get, as you get sort of towards 10,000 to 100,000, you'll get detailing companies asking if you want to do any kind of promotional stuff. And I didn't when I started the channel. I just didn't want to do it. I think I probably did about 5 years of just no, I'm not doing any of that. But it was when really I wanted to make a full-time living out of it. I thought, I'm recommending these brands anyway. Like, I love a brand called Built Hamber. I think their products are fantastic. They're not.
Yeah, I use those, Jon.
Yeah, they're not kind of very detailing sceney, if you like. They don't have all these blingy products, but they're just very functional, very concentrated, environmentally friendly, cheap.
Yeah.
And, they're just very good. And I've been recommending them for so long. People were saying I was sponsored by Built Hamber when I wasn't. So I thought, you know what? I might as well just do some sponsored content with them because I love the products. And so it's mainly if you do it long enough and you hold off on the promotion until you get bigger, then you're in a chance, you're in a better position to then work with the brands that you want to work with. And if you don't do that and you sort of take the promotional offers that you're given when you're smaller, you'll then probably be recommending companies that you wouldn't really or shouldn't be recommending. And there's a lot of detailing brands out there, I want to recommend, the stuff that I use that's in my garage, basically, and the stuff I'm interested in. Yeah, so if you go by that, you've got a good guideline. If I recommend what I use, then it should be reasonably good.
Yeah, because
Okay, Jon. So I'm gonna ask about two products, and I'm just gonna see if you've got them in your garage. Okay. The first
yes, I have.
The first one's T-cut.
No, I haven't. No. I mean, I used to use that all the time.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant product back in the day for pre-clear coat, when there was no clear coat on cars and it would fade. That was a really aggressive compound you could use by hand that would bring up the finish, and it was good. But as soon as they introduced clear coat, T-cut became, well, they had to reformulate it because it was just too aggressive. And in a world where we've all got clear coat, there's just better products on the market for correcting your car, than that.
I just think every garage in the country's got a bottle of T-cut somewhere, just sort of gathering dust, and just people are frightened to use it now, so it just sort of sits there. But I haven't got the heart to throw it away. And the other one was Turtle Wax. It's sort of like the car shampoo, but I imagine it's It's
I don't never really use that Turtle Wax original car shampoo. I used to use their wet and black or something. They had tyre shine like
oh
20
yeah,
years ago. I thought that was quite good. But I mean, when I first started doing this, it was all Auto Glim, Turtle Wax, and Maguire's, and that was pretty much it.
yeah,
Whatever was in Halfords, wasn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, very
then.
much so, yeah.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
But I think that's the coolest thing about the detailing world is no disrespect to those three brands, but the detailing world is suddenly another 5,000 brands. And some of those brands are all doing like cool things. You might have, example of a cool brand like Microfiber Madness or the Rag Company, microfiber specialists that are selling products that, blow the microfiber that you can get in Halfords, or just general kind of microfiber out of the water. And they've got all these ranges, and that's what detailing, I think, from the industry side is really cool, is that there's all these niche companies that are very into certain areas. So you've got microfiber specialists, you've got machine polisher specialists, your Flexes, your Rupes, your, then you've got your ceramic coating detailing companies and all that sort of stuff. So there's lots of cool things about the detailing scene where you can actually get much better products than you might get by going to your local automotive store. Although to be fair, they're catching up a little bit. The likes of Halfords and stuff, and they're dipping their toe in the water with some of these brands. So it's interesting. I think if they don't do that, the detailing scene's in danger of like outgrowing it. So it's
you can see why there's a huge demand though for something that you're doing, John. Because when you're reading off some of these names of these different products, I mean, I don't know about Ade and Ade, but I've never heard of half of these. And there's so many things out there. If you actually sat down, go on Google and put car detailing products, you'd be like, oh Christ, where do I start? What is the best? What do I do? So I mean, really, what you're doing is absolutely brilliant because it does give people a good insight to hopefully buy the right product rather than buying 10 different products and find that you couldn't get on with any of them.
You know what? That's kind of how I felt back in the early days of the channel. I felt exactly the same way. It was like, wow, there's all this stuff out there. Is it actually any good? Is it worth like
Daunting, really, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And is it really worth forking out for it? Because some of it is really expensive over what you might have had before, and do you really need it? And the answer is probably not all of it. You don't need all of it. But it's addictive and you can end up with all of it even if you don't want it. Yeah, it is addictive. So yeah, you've got to balance it. And a lot of people say in the comments, Jesus, you're costing me a fortune. I've got a garage full of stuff that I'm not using now. And I'm like, yeah, so have I.
I'm the misery one of the three, John. I'm quite miserable, and I just think sometimes what's the point of washing the car?
Yeah.
I mean, just the level of care and attention that goes into the detailing, and getting the little detail brushing in the trim and getting all the dirt out, and then putting clear coats on, and just it looking absolutely immaculate. And then the next day you've got to go and down a country lane and it gets muddy again. And do you ever get demoralised by it, or do you just think, oh great, I can wash the car again? Or do you...
No, I do, yeah.
Yeah.
And it gets worse when you get more cars. This has been on my mind a lot, actually, because I've just put one of my cars into storage because I couldn't, I had two outside and one in the garage, and it was just like you say, they're just permanently all through winter dirty, and you clean them, and they're clean for 5 minutes, and then you drive up the road and it's filthy again.
Yeah.
And that was that. Yeah, I didn't get on with that, so I've put one of mine into storage, and then I have one sitting in the garage that I'm generally filming stuff on, and then I've got one that I'm tearing around in, and I'm trying to set myself a target of not cleaning it for like 2 or 3 weeks now, and just unless I've got to do a video, and just not worrying about it. But yeah, I mean, you can. I tell you what, the way you were just describing how you can sometimes feel, it's 10 times worse when you've got a detailing channel and you're doing it all the time, talking about it all the time. You know,
Yeah.
you've got to be enthusiastic when you turn the camera on, because people are enthusiastic to watch, and if they see you're really kind of not in the zone that day,
Yeah.
then they'll pick up on it. So you've got to try and stay hungry.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I hope you're not on a water meter, are you?
I am, but I don't. Yeah, I don't use that much actually, though. Really, I mean, maybe I do, but
Yeah.
it probably seems that way because I guess all you see is the detailing content. But
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, actually, I haven't even checked my water bill. It's probably not good.
Oh, great. So you were talking about a couple of cars. So you've got a Porsche, haven't you? And is it the Beamer as well?
Yeah, I've got. I just got a 996 C4S, which I'm really enjoying at the moment, and that's my first Porsche ever. And I get it now. Yeah, I've always got it. Why people love Porsche so much? I've always got it.
Yeah.
But until you've owned one, they're just like a Porsche. But when you own it, you can't help looking at it, and you want to take it out for a drive. And I think that's always a basic sign of a good car.
Yeah.
But what I really like about the Porsche and this 996 is how hard you can drive it and how comfortable it feels being driven hard.
Yeah.
Which I can't say the same for my M4. You know, that's a lot faster than the Porsche, but it's you know, that's a handful, and that can be slightly dangerous in the wet. You know, whereas the Porsche really puts its power down and stays where you want it to stay.
Yeah. It's very much a driver's car.
So yeah,
Isn't it?
it's different things from different cars. But everyone, I speak to so many petrol heads, and everyone likes different cars. A couple of days ago, the guy just bought a new Hyundai N20. It watches the channel. Lovely bloke, and I met him at Fresh Layers, and yeah, he loved this car. And I polished it, and I could see why he loved it, because for £25,000 you get like a track warranty. It's just the right power for the road. It's in really good condition. So yeah, it just depends what you like. Lots of people love the JDM stuff. You know, you've got BMW guys, Merc guys, Audi guys, the VW guys. Yeah, what about you guys? I mean, what are your favourite cars?
We've got an eclectic mix between the three of us, John. I'm trying not to disappoint you.
We do the competition on him, Ade, to see which one he'd choose.
Yeah, all right then. Yeah. So we've done this before, John. Well, we've done this game where we've got our own cars, and what we do is we have about 30 seconds to tell you about our car, and then you have to, if you could hypothetically drive one of those home, which one would you take? That's what we do. So should we do that, gents?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. All right.
Oh, crikey, on the spot again. Now, there we go.
Yeah. You've got two to choose from, Jackie. Sorry. I'll go first. Okay, so I'll try and do about 30 seconds. I can't really time it. Okay, John, I have got a Mark II Mondeo. Try not to laugh. 30 odd thousand miles. I'm converting it to four-wheel drive. So the Mark I Mondeo, they did a four-wheel drive edition. I've taken all the running gear off that. I've reconditioned it, and I'm putting it on a Mark II Mondeo because the body shell's a lot better. It's not rotten and all that kind of thing. Maybe in the long term I might put like an ST200 engine in it or something like that. But in the next sort of month or so, I'm going to try and get that on the road. It'll look like a normal Mondeo. It'll have the ST200 wheels on it, a little bit lowered. It's white. And it's just like a sort of a family car, but at the same time I wanted to do a bit of a project, and that's why I've been doing the four-wheel drive conversion. So it'll be a one of a kind, really.
Very cool.
So that's mine. Go on, Darren, you do yours.
Oh, could you? Right. I have a Jaguar XJS convertible. It's 1988. It's a V12. Oh, you got me stopping this one, though, mate.
It's
Yeah,
immaculate.
for
It's
going out
immaculate.
in the summer, it's mainly a summer car that I use it for, being convertible. It is just awesome on the road. It's anything up to 40. It's a bit main dangerous. Get over the 40 mile an hour, and it's absolutely blistering on the roads. It just loves it and just keeps on wanting to go. I never get bored of driving it. No, yeah, that's my XJS.
Okay. And what colour is it, Darren?
It's blue,
Blue.
like a very light metallic blue.
There you go. There we go. Come on then, Andy.
Right, I have got a 1.4 SR Mark II Nova that's had the engine changed to a C20 16 valve turbo out of the Calibre 4x4. It's got a roll cage, bucket seats, everything's internal. It's 280 brake horsepower. Fuel lines are internal. Yep, it's all good. I've not long rebuilt the engine, fully rebuilt the engine, new turbo and everything. So it's ready to come on the road this year.
So
So that's fine. Yep.
that's your three cars, John. So you're in our sort of imaginary studio. We've all got the keys for you. Whose keys are you going to take, and which car are you going to drive home in?
Well, it's a tough choice, guys. I love the ST220s.
Oh, good man.
A friend of mine had one of those, but sorry, it's not the Mondeo.
no.
It's not the Mondeo, and it's not the Nova as well, which are very, very cool. I remember those back in the day. Again, if you had one of those, you were the man. If you had a Nova, like they were good cars. It's the XJS though for me, because I had a little die-cast model of that when I was young, and they look amazing. And I think the XJS will become really popular with modders because they look good when they're kind of stanced out. I know that's a bit of a faux pas, but they could be a really good iconic car, and you can get them for good money. So yeah, I would go with the XJS.
Right, well,
Nice
that's the end of the
one.
podcast,
Cheers, John.
No, that's it. It's all over. No.
Two on the trot, that is, Ade.
Oh dear, we need to change our guests. I need to phone them before and see if they're open to bribery or something like that. But I mean, to be fair, they are three very eclectic cars, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They're good. I think the V12 might swing it in their Jag as well. I can just imagine cruising along like some motorway in Europe or something in that. Whereas the Nova, you would want to be kind of tearing around in and on something twisty and cornery.
Yeah.
And the Mondeo maybe is a bit of both.
It's the all-rounder. It's the perfect car, John. That's what you're trying to say, isn't it?
Well, I remember the ST220 Mondeo. I think it had a V6 front wheel drive. A friend of mine had one, and it was a really good car. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, you're just trying to get back in my good books now, but you don't. But so that's 2-0 to you, Darren. We'll make a note of that.
Yeah.
Yes, nice one that was.
Yeah, well done there. I've got a few other questions, but Darren, Andy, have you got any questions you wanted to put to John?
So, I mean, when I used to be into detailing, I used to have a BMW M3, and I was part of the BMW car club. And I went to for 2 years I went to shows, and I got voted the second best BMW M3 Evo in West Midlands. So I got to show it at Birmingham with
E36 one.
E36, yeah, and they had the E30, E36, E46, E90.
Yeah.
And they're all in a row, and I've got pictures of them all in a row. But yeah, I used to be into, I don't know, I started off with Maguire's, and I probably had 90% of Maguire's stuff. You just go mad, don't you? You get the leaflets, and I get the bag and the polisher, and you just go for it all. And then I had a bit more money as I moved on. I went on to Zymol.
Oh yeah.
Which is, but yeah, I had like a fridge in the garage. Used to put it in the fridge to keep it cool. Used to put it on with my hands, and yeah, I got to the point where if I put it outside, it'd get dusty. I'm like, oh, better put the cover on it. It got that bad with me detailing it. I was like, oh, I need to sell it and buy something else. But I sold it when I had my old house to buy a bigger house. And I've always wanted a Nova Turbo. When I was young, my first car was a Vauxhall Nova. Then Courtney Sport did a C20 let turbo in it, and they spent like 40,000 pounds on it. And I was like, oh, I'd love one of them. And it come to the point where I could finally afford one. So I bought one, and yeah, I've probably had it for, I don't know, nearly 10 years.
Yeah. Don't ever sell it. Never sell it. It's one
No,
of those
no,
cars that
no,
you don't see very often.
no.
But people that are, probably in their 40s,
Yeah, well,
early 50s will remember them.
yeah. But
And
it helped when I was, because I've obviously had a brain tumour, it helped me go through the early stages of that, because I just go in the garage and I stripped it all down and rebuilt it, all forged internals and that sort of thing. So it means a lot to me with the work that I've done to it, on it. I did Santa Pod, and I come back and I stripped the engine, because so I bought a second-hand engine that had been bigger size pistons and all the bits on it. So I redid it, bought a stand and did it from the bottom upwards. Eventually got it in the car. So yeah, but obviously with having a brain tumour, they take your licence off you. So for the last like 10 years, I've had my licence, I've had it taken off, then I've had it again, then I've had it taken off, and they've taken it off me again. So I'm waiting for this year when I can get it back on the road. So this will be like my third time of owning it since I've had brain tumour. So it does mean a lot to me in
I
that.
bet you're a safer driver now than you were when you were 17, though.
Yes, a lot safer.
Yeah. And the roads are a lot safer because he's never on them.
No, I'm not.
No,
lives
it'd be
in
great to get it on the road, Andy. I mean, you're talking sort of later this year, aren't you? Like you said.
Later on this year,
Yeah.
hopefully. Well, yeah, it is 40 years of Vauxhall Nova this year.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So yeah,
Are you on? Are you guys on Instagram as well? Just
we are. aren't
Yeah,
we?
yeah, we're kind of finding our way around Instagram, John. It's we put posts on of like when the podcast goes out, and we put some random bits and bobs on there, and it's quite a strange world, isn't it? Instagram, you've got no idea how things are going to take on there. I mean, I think I did a 30-second video on these two lads playing Scale Electric at a car show, and it's had over 18,000 views, and yet other things you put on there, you probably get a handful of views. It's an interesting world.
I like it. I don't understand it either, and I'm rubbish at Instagram, but I like it because it allows me to sort of see other cars. So I want to see all these. I want to see the 1.4 Nova, and I want to see the Mark II Mondeo and the XJS. So, what are your guys' Instagrams?
Well, we all go under the Cars and Cancer one, and when we get round to it, we just put posts on there, so it's just Cars and Cancer.
Okay, I find it that way.
Yeah. I mean, it'll take you all of 2 seconds to look through what we've put on there, but it's it's a strange thing, really, John, because when we started this channel, we thought we'll just do it because we just want to offer help, and if because on other episodes we talk about our illnesses and how we've dealt with it, and life after and during treatment and that kind of stuff, and it's very, very helpful for us. But as you go, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but my mind's gone blank. But yeah, it's help me out here, gents. What am I trying to say?
Well, I think you're trying to say that it's that when you've gone through something, like cancer, having a passion,
Yes,
is like such an important thing. And I mentioned to you before, Ade, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine knows someone, a good friend of his, who has terminal cancer, and he doesn't know how long he's got left, and I was going to Goodwood and he asked he could come down and he could do a lap. So his name was Steve, and he was an amazing guy. And I met him down at Goodwood, and we had a really good day, just, tearing around Goodwood Motor Circuit. And I said to him when we're flying around, because he's a petrol head, real petrol head, and he's got an S-Class, an S63 AMG, which is a big, powerful kind of, car. I said, why don't you bring the Merc down and take it around the circuit? And he came back on Thursday and took the Merc around the circuit. In fact, I got a clip of him pulling away. I'll put it on Instagram. This great big Mercedes roaring out of the pit lane at Goodwood, and
brilliant.
it was a fantastic day. And it's things like that in life, we're always, before something happens to us, we're always thinking about the future, and we're so busy working towards something, and then something like cancer can come along, and it suddenly makes you aware of that everything can get kind of taken away from you potentially, and you've got to just spend the time that we have here thinking about the things that you love, and doing the things that you love. And I think for most guys, cars is right up there, after your loved ones and your family, maybe your house, your car is a massive thing. And that's why I think what you're doing with the Cars and Cancer YouTube channel is really, really important, because like you say, there's so many people going through cancer, and it will give them a piece of kind of something to think about that is not
related,
stressful or anything like that. And that as well, for me still today, detailing is part of that escapism from life. I wanted to do something that wasn't stressful, that I would love doing, and try and have a life that would be really low stress and just something to do with cars. And that's all I knew. And, and it's been really good for me, and still is really good for me. Some days, if you've got stuff on your mind, I can drop it from my mind and just put my mind on doing something really simple, that today I'm going to do X on the car. And it might be, take the rear bumper off and fix the reversing sensors, because I've got to do that.
Yeah.
That's a real job I've got to do this week. And when you're doing that job, you're not thinking about other things. And that is really, really powerful, because it just gets you living and thinking in the present. And and I think the day with Steve at Goodwood, I just enjoyed it, and I thought he was a really top guy. And, I felt really sorry for his situation, but the day, was really special to me. And
and it's a memory, isn't it, John?
It's the memory, and it's.
I feel that your whole life's a memory, really, and I think you made a good point of saying that, and until you come up against something like an illness like cancer, you're so much on the treadmill. You've got to go to work, you've got to do this. You're kind of always racing to get somewhere, and you're forgetting about now. And I think when you've been ill, it does actually make you a bit more grounded, and you don't have a lot of tolerance for time wasters and idiots, because people that moan over trivial little things. It's all about, like you say, it's about living for today. You can't do nothing about tomorrow, so why spend so much of your life worrying about it? And I think that's why we get on so well with this group, because we've got a really sort of unique friendship, really, what we've got, and the way we laugh and banter when we're out and take the mickey out of each other, even about our illnesses, and it's so, we've had some fantastic days out, and it's, a lot of people don't get that until something bad happens to them, and they think, hold on a minute, I've got a point there. Why am I worrying about next Monday? What's happening in 2 weeks' time? Is it really important? No.
Yeah, you think of all the things, before something like that happens, the things that can stress you in life, with work and that, it suddenly makes you realise they are not worth it at all.
No, that's
it's
right.
Just not worth
very
it.
much so.
it's all. I think for me, it's all about trying to spend your time doing the things that you enjoy the most in life. And then I know there's loads of stuff online about all this, isn't there? All these Instagram posts about this, but it's a bit of a cliche. But it's true that if you can figure out what it is that you love, then the next step is just kind of pursuing that and enjoying the pursuit as well.
Yeah.
And that's as good as it gets, I think. You know, in terms of what you spend your time doing. If you know you love it, then just like go for it. And I love cars. I mean, I'm going to be, you know, I obsess about cars all the time. You know, my friends obsess about cars. All I talk about is cars. It's just cars. So that's good for me. But my family get a little bit upset with me about it, I think, sometimes, because it's hard to pull me away from kind of anything to do with cars, you know.
But that's brilliant, though, isn't it? If you can find, you're very unique that you found a job. You're doing something that you love, and you're in control. You're the boss, aren't you? So if you want to work overtime one day, or you want to finish early, you're the boss.
Yeah, that is the best thing with doing full-time social media. You've got no one saying you've got to do this, that, and the other, and you can do what you like, which is great up to a point. But you have to keep pushing. That's the only thing. So I try and give myself some rules, just basic rules that get 2 or 3 videos done each week and filmed, you know, without fail, unless I'm on holiday or doing something else, and stick to that. And that's my only rule. And I don't put myself under too much pressure if I don't do that. And sometimes happens. But yeah, there's some dangers. Perhaps, you know, I hated having bosses and people telling me what to do and that, because I just like to have a clear horizon. If someone lumps work on you, then I wanted to get it done instantly. And I would be so stressed because of the fact I wanted to get that off the table and get onto the next thing or whatever. Now I don't have that in my life. I'm like, right, today I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to just, you know, try and enjoy it. So yeah, I am lucky actually. Someone said this to me the other day. Someone that I know, that what I'm doing is in terms of lifestyle and stuff, really cool, and it is. But it does take a bit of time to get to that stage, and you've got to do a lot of donkey work kind of to get there. But if you can get there and you can get to the point where you're doing full-time YouTube, it's fantastic. It really is. And I mean, you know, it's there. If you want to do it, you know, you just got to push the content and just I've said this on the channel many times. The number one secret to doing YouTube is just to love doing it, because if it becomes a chore, you will, and you're just doing it for the sake of it, even if you're successful in doing views, then you're wasting your time, and time is the asset. It's nothing else. It's how you spend your time that's important. So yeah, I'm lucky because I do love. I criticise detailing. Sometimes I don't love it, but I do love it. You know, secretly.
But there are days, aren't there, with anything you love. You love working on your car, and then it goes wrong, and something breaks, and then you hate the car, and it's, and then you just want to scrap it and buy something else, and you're on Auto Trader, and then a week later it's all's forgiven, and you're back to where you are, kind of thing. That's all part of the journey, isn't it? That's the thing about cars. They're I find the more you love a car, the more grief it gives you, and then the car that you less care about, it seems to be fine. It just seems to keep going. But
it just plods along in the background, doesn't it? The ones that you don't care about. But the ones you really love.
There's almost like 2 options, isn't there? You go for the brand new immaculate car that's smooth, amazing to drive.
This is what Ade was on about last week with his car.
I was having a right moan last week.
Yeah, or you go for the old car that you love the look of, and you love the nostalgia, and it smells different, and you don't see them on the road, but at least 3 things break every week, you know.
Yeah, I was at my wit's end last week, John, and I just said, why don't I just go to this car supermarket like everybody else, and just go and buy something that's just done by an i30 Performance or something like that, where it's just all done, it's fast, it's comfortable. And then Darren said, well, that's too easy. There's no fun in that. And I love it when people take a car that you don't see very often anymore, and you see it on the road and it looks tidy, and you think, bloody hell, fair play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that as well. And you get to know the car by taking it apart.
Yeah.
You get to know every nut and bolt, where it's good, where it's bad, what you know for the next 6 months what you're going to be doing on the car. You know the next thing that's going to fail. You've Googled for every part manufacturer, and you know where you can get all the bits from, and you know all the breakers. That's when you really know the car. There is those cars I think you keep for life. The new ones you get on the sort of spur of the moment, where you have that moment where you think, oh, this looks good, and you go and buy it. But like you say, it is too easy, and it's all done. But saying that, I wouldn't mind a new Porsche. So it's a balancing act, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh. So what Porsche would it be, John?
I would love to get a 992 GTS with an aero kit in chalk, with the carbon fibre roof, ceramic brakes, and I could go through every single spec option I've spec'd on it. But I'd spec'd it, and I suddenly thought, how can I get this? How can I get this? What have I got to do to get this?
Yes.
And then when I went through it all, it was basically get rid of all my cars, spend money that really I shouldn't be spending, and basically I could have got it, but I would have been penniless.
Yeah.
And I'd only have one car, and I thought, that's silly. And once I've got it, I know once I've driven it and I've had it for 6 months, there'll be something else. So I'm holding back on that, and I think I'd rather have a few cars that are less value perhaps than one that's immaculate. And I think I wouldn't want to drive it. If it was brand new and had all the peeling wrap on it, that comes from the factory and all that, and it turned up, it would sit in my garage, and I wouldn't want to drive it because I'd get a stone chip, and that would be the end of my life,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And that takes the fun out of driving them, doesn't it? Or even owning them.
It does.
Yeah.
You've got to, I think you've got to just accept they're going to get hammered. And my M4, it gets hammered. That car, I love the look of it, and it was in pretty good shape when I got it, and it's getting hammered. But you know what? I really don't care.
No.
Because I'm going to keep it for life. I'll fix, the bumper when it's got 2 years worth of stone chips on it. I'll eventually do the front windscreen, but there's no point in doing any of it now, because I'll take it to a track and it will just get chipped straight away.
Again,
I'm just going to enjoy just driving it.
Oh,
but
that's what we said, isn't it, chaps? The cars are there to be driven and to be enjoyed.
Definitely. Yeah.
And
I mean, I get my one out whenever I get a chance to. It's only over to my dad's, in a little village just about 2 miles away from where I live. But I get home from work and I go and get it out of the garage, walk up the road, get it out, take it over there, and just for the sake of driving it. And I could quite easily jump in my pickup and go over in that, which would be a lot quicker and easier. But there's no fun in driving that. You work in that, don't you? And we'll go over in Jack's car, little Fiesta, what she's got, but nah. Get the car out. Just any excuse to go somewhere in it, really.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're getting close to the end, gents. Oh, bit of echo there. So, when you were a kid, John, and you're playing with your cars, I assume you had all the cars and all that kind of thing. What was your dream car when you were a kid? What was the car you thought, oh, I'd really like one of those when I'm older? And you look back now and think, oh my God, what a terrible car.
I really used to love Alphas when I was young, Alfa Romeos. I never really wanted those exotics, I don't think, like those cars. It was always I tell you what it would have been. When I was sort of early teens, it would have been a Golf, like a Golf GTI or a BMW M3, because they were like the cars that if you had back then, you'd made it. You were the cool kid, you know. So I always dreamt about the stuff that wasn't that exotic. Although I think I had a picture of an F40 somewhere. That might have made it into the garage. But again, if you've got like £1 million F40 now, you can't use it because everywhere you go, people are going to stop and ask you to want to talk about it. You can't just go for a discreet drive, you know. So I'd say Golf GTI probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was yours, Andy? What was yours, Darren? What car did you like when you were a kid?
When I was a kid,
Yeah.
I think 'cause I used to have loads and loads of like little models of cars, even then, like sort of playing with them, and I think probably an E-Type Jag. I used to have a little model of an E-Type Jag, but it was one that I bought for me for Christmas one year, and it was like bigger than all the other Matchbox ones, and I think that's what got me into it there. And then I always remember my granddad telling me stories about it, that a chap, when he was at work, he said it was his boss that he had one of them cars, and he used to tell me all these fantastic stories when his boss took him out for a drive in it. And I think being a kid, that was it. I was just hooked on it because there was nothing else. All my other models was all like square things, and there was no real sort of shape to them in life. But that, I know, it's lovely. Yeah, and I still like it.
Do you guys remember the Matchbox Lotus, the James Bond? Everyone had that.
Oh yeah, the Esprit.
Yeah.
Was it an Esprit?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. You pressed the button on top, and the little fins came out the side. And the bit
That was it. Yes. I had one. Yeah.
That's great.
Oh, wicked. Yeah. We was on about this for the Sky Electrics, weren't we, lads? The other week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Andy? What was your dream car when you?
When I was young, it'd be a Golf GTI because my dad had one.
Yeah.
Mark II.
Hmm.
I really liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny actually. I think everyone as a kid's influenced by somewhere in the family, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
There's something that someone's had or tells you a story about one, and and you sort of look at it and think, yeah, I'd like one of them as well.
Yeah, and like John was saying as well, it's not always the poster car, because I did have a Porsche of some sort on the wall, and there was a Ferrari Testarossa on the wall and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
they were nice to look at, but I never craved one. I craved an Opel Manta, and it was just something clearly wrong with me. But it was just, there's just something about when you're a certain age, you see a shape of a car and you just think, yeah, that's me. That's
I think it probably is the shape more than anything, Kate, really, because we don't know anything about them, do we?
No,
at that age.
No, and that the Opel Manta was just like, wow, that's just the greatest car in the world, that is. And
you had one as well, didn't you, Ade?
Yeah, have I mentioned that, Darren? I might have mentioned it once or twice, maybe.
Oh, you might have done once or twice, maybe. Yeah. Not very often, Ade.
No, not very. I don't like to talk about it. No, not at all.
Every week.
But so I suppose we're sort of coming to a close now. Firstly, I want to really, really thank you, John, for taking the time, because I'm sure there are much better things you could be doing this evening, and just spending a bit of time to chat with us numpties.
Yes, and really for me, John.
It's really, really
that's
fun.
my absolute pleasure, guys. It's gone in a flash this hour, because it always does when you're talking to petrol heads. It's like we've been chatting for the last year or something, and I can chat for England, But no, it's been great fun, guys, and thank you for having me on the show.
No, it's really kind. And so, just to finish then, John, how do we get to find out more about you then? Where's your channel? Where are you on, so just people can tune in?
Yeah, you can follow me on the YouTube channel called Forensic Detailing Channel, and I'm also Forensic Detailing on Instagram, and that's really all I do. It is on Facebook, but I don't do much on Facebook, so that's where I am.
Yeah, we found the same. We found that Facebook doesn't really work for us, and Instagram and YouTube it just seems to suit us, and keep it simple, and just like us. So thank you for anybody who's actually listening to this. We really do appreciate you listening, and like and subscribe and all that kind of nonsense, whatever you do and that kind of thing. But like I say, once again, thank you very much, John. And we'll hopefully keep in touch. And when I get my car on the road, I'll need somebody to detail it. So I'll give you a nudge.
Awesome.